communications on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And finally, please welcome Chris Kerr, Executive Director of the Ignatian Solidarity Network, to the stage.
Thanks, Meg. Thanks, Maria. Good evening and welcome to everyone. We're so excited to have you here. And on behalf of the Ignatian Solidarity Network, I'd like to welcome you to the 18th Annual Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice. We're excited to have a record crowd of more than 1,700 people here for the teach-in. And so I'd like to begin by offering a special welcome to a number of groups who are here for the first time. Raise your hand if you're here for the first time. Raise your hand. Excellent. Wow. Welcome. Welcome. I'd also like to recognize the old timers, we'll call them. Was anyone here at the first teach-in? Oh, there we go. A few folks. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We've come a long way from those first days in Georgia, so we're glad you're all here. Secondly, we have a number of international delegations that are here, and I'd like to welcome them. I'd like to welcome our delegations from Canada. Could those delegations stand up so we can recognize you? There they are. Excellent. All right, welcome. We also have a delegation from Mexico, from Colegio Ibero Tijuana. Oh, look at that. All right. Yeah. Let's see that flag again. Show us that flag one more time. That was beautiful. Woo. In addition, we're honored to welcome two students from the Jesuit University of Central America in El Salvador who are with us this weekend. I'd like to recognize, there are only two of them, we can recognize them individually. They're members of UCA's Ignatian Leaders Program. Their names are Adriana and Renee. Where are they? There they are. Welcome. As you hopefully know, the UCA is where the 6 Jesuits and 2 lay women were killed in 1989, almost 26 years ago. And so by your presence here, you help continue that relationship and that connection to the legacy of the Jesuit martyrs. So thank you so much for representing the UCA and for being here this weekend. We're really grateful. In addition, I'd like to welcome Felipe Carrillo, who's joined us from Colombia. Felipe is right here. Felipe is here representing the Federation of Jesuit Secondary Schools of Latin America. Felipe, we're really excited to have you here with us, and we hope that this can be a step toward developing new relationships with your network. So thank you so much for making the trip. I'm also excited to welcome many delegations that are here from schools sponsored by other Catholic men's and women's religious congregations who've come with an open heart and an open mind to explore faith and justice with us in this Ignatian tradition. Thank you to all those universities, high schools, and even parishes who are with us, especially those who have come for the first time. Welcome. I also want to say welcome to the many people from around the world who are going to be joining us via live stream. I know that we're working on a few technical issues, but they'll be with us soon, and we're really grateful for their presence. So to them, we look forward to being with you. Each of you, whether you're here for the first time or you're here for the 18th time, through your presence, you're part of the Ignatian Solidarity Network's mission to mobilize people for a more just world. We are all of God's people. We should all be treated with dignity and respect, and you're invited into that mission of working for that. So each of you are a part of what we usually call the Ignatian family, so thank you so much. I think it's also important to recognize the many people who make it possible for the nearly 100 school and parish delegations from across the country to be here. These folks include faculty, parish staff, administrators, parents, and many others who dedicate hours to long van drives, sleepless bus rides, daunting airport logistics, and so on to ensure that the room is filled with such a beautiful representation of the Ignatian family. So thank you to those who've who've worked so hard to bring students and parish delegations here. And speaking of thanks, I also want to thank the ISN staff and the Teach-In Steering Committee and our Board of Directors who've worked tirelessly over the past months to prepare for this weekend. And especially to our program director, Kim Miller, who literally puts her entire heart and soul into the Teach-In. So thank you to our staff and especially Kim. And in your program book, if you go to that last page, the inside back cover, everybody turn to that page for me. Turn to that page. And take a look at that beautiful list of sponsors. Some wonderful institutions that help to support us, okay? They value our faith and justice mission, and they want to help make a gathering like the Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice possible. So I especially want to say thank you to our Loyola level sponsors, America Magazine, Boston College School of Theology and Ministry, Ethics Merch, the Jesuit School of Theology at Santa Clara University, the Jesuit Just Employment Project, and the University of San Francisco. Go Dons. Without the generous support of these institutions and our other sponsors, this gathering literally would not be possible, okay? So we'll get a chance to learn more about, especially our Loyola level sponsors, tomorrow morning. So each year, our Teach-In Steering Committee, who works really hard, they spend many weeks discerning a theme that can contextualize our gathering. This year, they kept it really simple. One word, bridges. Now, what do bridges have to do with working for justice? I think everything. Bridges are not only physical structures that cross water and land, they're also concepts that allow us to cross time and distance and culture and climate. They unite ideas, they connect communities, they support sojourners and shelter those who are seeking refuge, whether they were crossed 50 years ago for voting rights or 50 minutes ago to visit a friend. Whether they unite faith and justice or two banks of a river. Whether they are created when someone reaches out to us or when we reach out to others. Bridges are an inescapable part of life. The transformation of physical bridge building over the course of human history has been significant. We've got bigger bridges now, right? In ancient times, a bridge was often no more than a tree laying across a small gap in the earth. Today's bridges go much farther, but the basic tenets of bridges remain the same. They bring people together, they allow us to be better connected, they allow us to be one. In their 35th General Congregation, a worldwide meeting of Jesuits to further define their goals and direction, the Jesuits identified bridges as a way to respond to complex problems our world faces, saying that we should build bridges between rich and poor by establishing advocacy links of mutual support between those who hold political power and those who find it difficult to voice their interests. As the document notes, our world faces many complex problems: poverty, violence, hunger, discrimination, environmental degradation. It seems at times that our world has become completely comfortable with a throwaway culture that many of us have heard Pope Francis describe. We've become too comfortable with 65 refugees dead in a sweltering box truck. A refugee boy lying lifeless on a beach. Young black males killed seemingly simply for being young, black, and in the wrong place at the wrong time. We've become too comfortable with an economic system where profit is more important than people, where care for creation is often an afterthought and care for the most vulnerable is trumped by partisan politics. There is no better time than now to talk about bridges, what we can learn from those who have built bridges of solidarity, and how we can build them moving forward. So how do we live out this theme during our time together? I think our invitation is threefold. First, we're called to explore the ways that others have built bridges. Over the course of the weekend, women and men will take this stage to share their own experience of building bridges of solidarity, and we will be reminded of a number of things. We'll be reminded that all human beings have dignity, even those on death row. We'll be reminded that Black lives matter. We'll be reminded that our church can be a place where people of different sexual orientations can feel welcome. We'll be reminded that our dignity should not be determined by our immigration status, that a living wage is what all workers should have a right to, and that care for our common home is needed now more than ever. Those who share their stories will be a witness of the impact that bridge building can make in working to make us one. Secondly, we're asked to reflect on the bridges in our world, the bridges that need crossing to expand our circles of compassion, the bridges that need repairing to let hope and light shine forth, the bridges that need imagining to create new spaces and new possibilities, and the bridges the world is calling us to create in cooperation with each other. And third, we're called to act. We are called to build bridges. We're called to build bridges. And this call needs to begin right here with you and the people around you. Over the course of this weekend, take the opportunity to build a bridge by getting to know other people, as well as the institutions and organizations that are here because of their commitment to work for justice. Talk to people, shake their hand, give them a hug, whatever it takes to extend that bridge out over this divide that exists in our world. Take the time to do that. But our bridge building has to extend beyond this space and beyond this time. And our first opportunity to do this will be Monday, when over 1,200 of us converge on Capitol Hill. We'll have the opportunity to build bridges of dialogue in the way the Jesuits described, with those who hold power, bringing with us the voices of our brothers and sisters marginalized by the realities of an unfair immigration system, by violence and injustice facing the people of Central America, and the desperate state of our climate that is leaving over 1 billion people in our human family at great risk. I mentioned Pope Francis earlier. I think Pope Francis can be a great model for us as we head to Capitol Hill mainly because he did the same thing himself in September. I stood outside the Capitol on that September day during his address to Congress. I know many of you were watching from your homes, your schools, your churches. Pope Francis talked about being a bridge in many different ways during that address. He used the word dialogue 12 times to talk about ways that we could build bridges with each other. He cited many leaders over the course of the United States history who were bridge builders: Abraham Lincoln, Dorothy Day, Thomas Merton, Martin Luther King. Toward the end of his address, he spoke to the concept of bridge building with dialogue while talking about the complex issue of immigration here in the U.S. He said, "A nation which seeks the common good cannot be closed in on itself. Societies are strengthened by networks of relationships. The current problem of immigration makes this clear." He went on to say, "Instead of raising walls, we need to be building bridges instead of raising walls." And so I ask you, as we prepare to begin this journey, are you ready to be people who build bridges instead of raising walls? That's good, because my next two questions didn't mean anything if you said no. Secondly, are we ready to be people seeking dialogue as a way to build bridges? Okay. And thirdly, are we ready to be people who build bridges of solidarity, bringing us together as one? So the time is now. The place is here. Let's be bridges. Again, welcome. We're honored to have you here with us. We are honored to build bridges with you. Thank you so much.